Hi there guys, in this video we're going to have a look at the Beluga Liner. Now this is a new ship added in 2.2. Its primary role is to transport passengers, however it is capable of actually doing trading. So bear in mind this was recorded in beta, so things may change between now and final release. Another thing to note is the prices. They're actually a tenth with a 10% discount, so this should be around about the 80 million mark. It has a top speed of 197 with a boost of 275. It has 2 points to maneuverability. It has a frameshift drive roughly of 26.5 light years. The shielding is a little bit low, to be honest. It has quite a strong armour on it though. The whole mass is 1,100, which is pretty heavy, with a maximum sort of cargo space of 368, I believe. However, the primary role of this ship is to transport passengers over long distances. So I guess the next thing to kind of do is to actually show you the cockpit as I normally do, so you can have a look round. So let's get the ship and have a look. So if we have a look at this cockpit, we've got a pretty open view. We don't have any bars or anything in the way, apart from this section at the bottom, which is kind of what we have on most ships. If we have a look about, so down the bottom here isn't really changed too much. If we have a look on the left, we have a seat over here. Again, it's all very open, so you won't get anything in the way there. It's pretty much the same things on the right hand side. Another seat again, and not really much in the way. So it's a pretty big open cockpit. By the looks of it, like I said, you potentially could have two other players essentially there. So let's head over to the outfitting section and show you some of the stuff there. So kind of the first thing to touch on is the hardpoints. Now we have 5 medium hardpoints. 2 of these are on the top of the ship, which are these two. These are kind of left and right. I will show you where they are later in the video. The next kind of 3 are on the underside. 2 of them are left and right, kind of near the front part of the ship, whilst this last one is kind of in the middle, but I think it's a little bit further back. I'm not too sure. I'll show you where that is eventually. Next we have 6 utility mounts for kill warrant scanners, shield boosters, etc. So now onto the internals. So we have our bulkheads as normal. Like I said, these can cost quite a lot of money, and like I said, bear in mind all the prices are going to have a 0 on the end. So we have reactive armour is our first one, which is got a mass of 165, same for mirror. Military is again 165 tons, reinforced is 83 tons. Obviously we've got a lightweight, which is our normal one. Next we've got a 6 reactor, class 6, class 7 thrusters, a class 7 frameshift drive, class 8 life support, which is the first time we've seen 8, a class 6 power distributor, class 5 sensors, a class 5 here, but I think they're going to change that to class 7 fuel tank. That's been said in one of the things they've been saying about they're going to be changing. So the next thing is to look at the internals. Obviously the optional bays. So we have 4 class 6 slots, which is the largest on the ship. Then we have 2 class 5. Then we have a single class 4. And then we have 4 class 3 slots. So like I said, this allows up to 368 cargo. Obviously with 2.2 we can actually install passenger cabins instead. Passenger cabins, by the looks of it, will work on any ship that will fit that size class. So I guess the next thing to do is kind of show you the external of the ship. Since this is based on an imperial design, we get our white and black kind of theme. However, the kind of look the designers went for this time is to make it sort of seem not so aggressive. So the ship is kind of very rounded. Again, because it's a passenger kind of ship, that they've gone for kind of large windows to sort of give the feel that the ship is a passenger cabin to a ship. Like I said, you can swap the internals and change it. They seem to, I'm not too sure if they are kind of windows on the side of the ship. You can see kind of 3 lines Another thing I'm not totally sure because it's very hard for me to show is apparently the back wings on the ship will move up and down depending on the landing gear. Like I said though, it's kind of hard to show you that because you can only kind of control the ship yourself. So if we have a look at the kind of side of the ship to give you a sort of bit more of an idea of the actual feel of the ship. So like I said, I'm not too sure if they was trying to go for windows. I suppose they are. When you look at the bottom kind of line, it looks like there's a pair of doors there. So if we have a look at the back end of the ship, like I said, you may be able to sort of have a look at the ship in like this detail on your own later on. But for those, you might find it quite interesting just to have a look around the kind of external, because sometimes it can be quite tricky to set up, so it gives you an idea, a bit more of the feel of it. So on the back we kind of have the standard sort of drives that we kind of would see on something like the Anaconda. So the next thing to kind of do is to get the ship out into space. Should I give you some idea how the ship kind of handles as well? Right. So bear in mind this ship is a large kind of class ship, and by the looks of it, it takes most of the actual bay up. You would think it would be quite a tricky ship to get undocked, but it does seem to be quite an easier ship, if you get what I mean. Sometimes the Imperial Cutter can be quite a difficult ship to actually get through that doors. So we got a kind of boost of over about 290 then. This is with A-class thrusters, and a kind of normal speed of, still coming down, isn't it, 210-ish. So the next thing I'm going to kind of show you is the turn speed of the ship. So this is probably best case scenario with the best thrusters with 4 pips to engine. So let's see how quickly it turns. Bear in mind this is quite a big ship. So it's looking around about 13 seconds, which is pretty good for this size ship, to be honest. I was expecting it to be a bit slower than that. So the next thing to do is to look at the weapons. Sometimes it isn't particularly clear where they are on a ship, and sometimes it can pay a big difference of what you put where. So this ship has 5 hardpoints, all of them being medium class. We have 2 on the top and 3 on the bottom. As you can see, they are placed quite far apart, which isn't ideal. So these are the top set. And then we have our other set below here. I did use multi-cannons, which are a little bit harder to see. So the next thing to do is to show you where the top guns are. You may see them already, but they are basically near the back of the ship. You can see there's these kind of black windows, and they're right back there. They're just in front of a pair of fans that are spinning, so you can just about make them out probably now. So these are the top set of medium hardpoints, which are not in the greatest positions, but like I said, this ship being a cruise ship isn't necessarily designed for combat. The next thing to do after this is to show you where the underneath hardpoints are. So underneath we have 3 hardpoints. You can see there is kind of one much more forward than the other, and then we have 2 side by side. These are a little bit more further to the front of the ship, unlike the top ones, which are quite far back. Hopefully that's explained where these hardpoints are. Sometimes it is tricky to know where they are exactly. So if I look at this ship in 3 different ways, the first being trading. Now this ship is not a bad trader at all. 368 tons is pretty reasonable. Obviously it won't be something like the Type 9 with its 532 space. However, this ship is a lot easier to fly than the Type 9. For its size, I'm quite surprised how manoeuvrable it is. For exploration, I could see this ship being actually pretty useful. It's got a decent jump range of 26.5. Obviously you might be able to get that up a bit more with the engineers. With a larger fuel tank, if they do it, that's just going to be a big bonus. And it's got a few internal compartments and things like fuel scoops. However, I would say the ship does lack in the combat facilities. The shield specifically is kind of the weakest point of it, and in combat usually the shield is one of the most important aspects of it. Obviously weapons are pretty important too. Again, there it's only got 5 medium points, so like I said, it's capable of defending itself somewhat, but it's not really suited to that. However, really this ship has a fourth role, and that's what its primary design is, to transport passengers over long distances. And for this ship obviously is going to excel in that, because that's what it's designed for. Obviously that I haven't really looked at in the past, because there hasn't been the option to transport passengers before. However, with 2.2 we'll be able to do it. So hopefully guys, that's helped explain what the Beluga Liner is, what it does, some of the stats, some of the details. If I've missed something, please let me know. I'll try and look into it. If you have any comments and suggestions, please leave them below. They're always welcomed. So if you found the video useful, please leave a like. That always helps me a lot. Another thing that does kind of help me a lot as well is subscribing, so feel free to do that if you want. Thanks guys for watching. Take care and have fun out there.